Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the class. We were discussing coordination chemistry. In previous class, we have just given the idea of pairing energy, the energy required for pairing an electron. And based on the pairing energy, we can say whether it is a high spin complex or low spin complex. If pairing energy is greater than the delta value, then they will give low spin, high spin complexes. If pairing energy is lower than delta value, then they will give low spin complex. Pairing energy is generally composed of two terms. One is repulsive energy and a loss of exchange energy. What is repulsive energy? Repulsion between neighboring electrons. Compared to 3D elements, 4D elements are larger in size. Compared to 4D, 5D elements are larger in size. When we increase the size of the atom, then we can reduce the repulsions between the electrons. So that is why pairing energy will decrease from 3D to 4D and then from 4D to 5D. So pairing energy will be very high for 5D elements compared to 4D. So that is why generally for 4D and 5D, we generally encounter low spin complexes because they have uh, uh, very low pairing energy. Now, what is loss of exchange energy? Loss of exchange energy is nothing but when two electrons wants to become paired, then what we need to do? We need to reverse the spin of the second electron, then only it will get paired. So that is what is called exchange energy, exchange of spin. Generally, the loss of exchange energy is proportional to number of electron pairs. In each pair, one electron will exchange its spin. So the loss of exchange energy depends on the number of electron pairs. So for simplicity, we will practice a problem. Then we will move forward. Now, here for Mn3 plus ion, pairing energy is about 28,000 centimeter inverse. Delta naught values for hexa aqua manganese 3 ion and hexacyanomanganate 3 ion are 21,000 and 38,500 centimeter inverse respectively. What are their configurations? Configurations in the sense electronic configurations. First we will write, given that for Mn3 plus ion, pairing energy is equal to 28,000 centimeter inverse. Also, for MnH2O 6 times 3 plus delta, because it is octahedral complex, delta naught is equal to 21,000 centimeter inverse. MnCN 6 times 3 minus delta naught is equal to 38,500 centimeter inverse. Now we were asked to write about the electronic configuration of Mn3 plus ion in these two complexes. What is its electronic configuration? Now, whether it is a high spin complex or low spin complex, that is what our question is. Now, this is the pairing energy and this is the delta naught value. As we know, if delta naught is higher than pairing energy, then pairing occurs. Because of the pairing, we will get low spin complex. What we will get? We will get low spin complex. If delta naught is less than P, no pairing, because delta naught is low, so electron can easily go to occupy the higher level. So in this case, there is no pairing. So we observe high spin complex. If we know what is high spin complex and low spin complex, then it is easy for us to write the electronic configuration. For example, manganese ion, whose atomic number is 25, and in Mn3 plus state, it is D4 electronic configuration. In Mn3 plus, it is D4 electronic configuration. Now in octahedral field, these d electrons are split into T2G and EG level. Now, how do we distribute these 4 electrons in this complex and this complex? Please think about it for a minute and then tell me. For MnH2O 6 times complex, delta naught is less than pairing energy. Delta naught is less than pairing energy. So here there will be no pairing. We will get high spin complex. So the electronic configuration is first electron will be in T2G level, second electron will be in T2G level, third electron will be in T2G level. So T2G3 and no pairing. So fourth electron will not pair here. Fourth electron will go to EG orbital, EG1. So here we will have 3 single electrons, then fourth electron, 3 electrons, because there is no pairing, because delta naught is lesser than pairing energy. We don't observe any pairing. Fourth electron will go here. But in case of this complex, pairing energy is lower than delta naught. Delta naught is very, very high. Electron cannot go there. Then what happens? In this case, the fourth electron will be here only. It will not go to EG level. So we will get TG4, T2G4. That means here we will have an electron pair and two single electrons. This is the electronic configuration. Now we can calculate the CFSE also. CFSE for this complex. Yeah, you do this. CFSE for this. Now I will explain CFSE for this complex. CFSE for this complex, as you can calculate some x into delta naught, we will get it. But here we have a pair, electron pair. We need to add this pairing energy also. Right? Previously, we did not consider pairing energy, but here we have an electron pair. So we need to consider pairing energy also. So calculate the CFSE and add 1 pairing energy. If you have 2 electron pairs, then we will add 2 into pairing energy. If we have 3 electron pairs, we will add 3 into pairing energy. Now we will look at the calculation of CFSEs and magnetic moments for all the d electron configurations in weak field and strong field cases for octahedral complexes. You know, we need to explain this by taking each and every example, but I'm not taking this example. Okay, I'm just taking number of d electrons. For example, if there is only 1 electron, it will occupy EG level, T2G level, 1 electron in the first orbital. Now, EG, there is no electrons in EG. What is CFSE? Minus 0.4 into number of electrons in T2G level plus 0.6 into number of electrons in EG level. So there are no electrons here. It will get 0 here. So it is minus 0.4 delta naught. Now, if we have 2 electrons in d orbital, 1 electron in first orbital, another electron in second orbital, T2G orbitals, e.g. 0. So CFSE minus 0.4 delta naught into 2. So minus 0.8 delta naught. Now, if we have 3 electrons in the metal ion, first electron, second electron, and third electron, they will not pair, right? Because there are 3 orbitals, so each one must be singly occupied first. Now, minus 0.4 into 3, it is 1.2 delta naught. I'm calculating this from the formula. If there are 4 electrons, then if it is a thing that it is a weak field ligand, then we don't observe any pairing. We will have this 4th electron filled in Eg orbital. So T2G3, Eg1. Then what will happen? Minus 1.2 plus 0.6 into 1, 0.6. So minus 1.2 plus 0.6, it becomes minus 0.6 delta naught. I'm just giving this for simplicity. You know what is D1, D2? When we were given a complex, for example, in this case, then we need to find out the electronic configuration of manganese, whether it is a D1 or D2, D3. Then we can apply this table. Okay, so that's what I'm giving a shortcut for this. Now, if it is a D5 system, then first electron, second electron, and third electron in T2G. Fourth electron will enter into Eg. Fifth electron will also enter into Eg. Now, because it is a weak field ligand, we will have a configuration of T2G3, Eg2. Now, the crystal field splitting energy will be minus 0.6 into delta naught plus 0.6 into delta naught. So it becomes 0. If it is a D5 configuration, then the crystal field splitting is 0. Now look at the magnetic moment values. Magnetic moment, as I have given for spin only formula, if we have 1 electron, then the magnetic moment is 1.73 dBi. If we have 2 single electrons, then it is 2.83 dBi. If we have 3 single electrons, it is 3.87 dBi. If it is 4 single electrons, it is 4.90. If we have 5 single electrons, it is 5.92 dBi. So this we can calculate from spin only formula, square root of n into n plus 1. Now, sixth electron, now again, all the 5 orbitals are filled with each electron, with single electron. Now the sixth electron will enter into T2G. Previously, this is the electronic configuration for 5 electrons. Now sixth electron will come and will get paired because there is no empty orbital. Now pairing will start. With D5 configuration, all the orbitals are half filled. With D6 configuration, pairing will start. Now again, it will become 1 electron excess, right? Here, 1 electron excess. So it becomes minus 0.4 delta naught. For D7 configuration, that will get another pair. D7 configuration will get another pair. There are 2 electrons in T2G. It is minus 0.8 delta naught. For D8 configuration, we will get 3 lone pairs, 3 electron pairs in T2G level, 2 single electrons in EG level, and the CFSE will be 1.2. So for each electron in T2G level, we need to add 0.4. For each electron in EG level, we need to subtract 0.6. Okay. So for a D9 configuration, it is T2G6, EG3. EG3. So the delta value will be, because we have 1 excess electron here, we need to subtract 0.6. So 0.6 delta naught. Now what is the configuration for D10? D10, it is completely filled. So CFSE is 0. And of course, you can write the magnetic moment values. Here we have 4 electrons, 4.90. Here we have 3 electrons, 3.87. Here we have 2 electrons, 2.83. Here we have 1 electron, 1.83. Now, when we look at the strong field ligand, up to D3, there is no difference. Whether it is a weak field ligand or strong field ligand, up to D3, there is no difference. Because first electron has to enter T2G, second electron has to enter T2G, third electron also has to enter T2G. When it is fourth electron, then there is a difference between weak field ligand and strong field ligand. So the difference is for D4 configuration, D5 configuration, D6 configuration, and D7 configuration. For D8 and D9, D10, it is the same thing for weak field and strong field. So I'll write only these terms. For D4, as we know, T2G, 3 electrons will be filled. Because it is strong field, the fourth electron will not go to EG, it will start pairing. It will start pairing here itself. So CFSE will be minus 1.6 delta naught. Now fifth electron also will not go to T2G level, EG level, it will pair in T2G level itself. So delta naught value will be 2. Sixth electron also will not go to EG level, it will pair in T2G itself. So the delta naught will be 2.4 delta naught. Now seventh electron will go to EG orbital. Seventh electron will go to EG. Because we have increased 1 electron here, we need to subtract 0.6. So 1.8 delta naught. For D8 configuration, it is same. For D8 configuration, it is same. You can fill the remaining table. So far, we have discussed crystal field splitting for octahedral complexes. Now we will discuss crystal field splitting for tetrahedral complexes. Yeah, in the beginning itself, I have discussed that theory, then crystal field splitting. Then there is a separate heading for octahedral complexes. If you were asked about octahedral complexes, write octahedral. If you were asked about tetrahedral complexes, write the theory, crystal field splitting, then tetrahedral complexes. Now, how do we explain the crystal field splitting for tetrahedral complexes? Now, it is important to understand the orientation of tetrahedral complex. To understand the orientation of tetrahedral complexes, we take a cube, and we imagine a metal at the center, and the 4 ligands. Because it is a tetrahedral complex, we have 4 ligands. The 4 ligands are assumed 2 in the opposite diagonals, 2 here, 2 here, and the other 2 in this opposite diagonal, Remember, out of the 4 ligands, 2 ligands are in this square, and other 2 ligands are in this square, but exactly in opposite direction. Now we will try to assume coordinate axis, x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. For example, think x-axis in this direction, y-axis in this direction, z-axis in this direction. Now, you tell me whether these ligands are arranged along the coordinate axis or in between the coordinate axis. Whether these ligands are arranged along the coordinate axis or in between the coordinate axis. That means whether they are in the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis direction, or in between x and y-axis, or y and z-axis, or z and x-axis. Yes, they are in between the axis. They are not exactly along the x-axis or y-axis or z-axis. They are in between the axes. In this case, the direction of approach of the ligands does not coincide exactly with either the EG or the T2G orbitals. In octahedral complex, the direction of ligands exactly matches with the T2G EG orbitals, but in this case it does not exactly match with either EG or T2G orbitals. However, the T2G orbitals are nearer to the direction of ligands than the EG orbitals. T2G means dxy, dyz, and dzx. dxy, dyz, dzx. Because they are in between the axis, they are nearer to the ligands. Whereas EG orbitals, EG means dx square, y square, dz square. They are along the axis. Because the ligands are in between, they are nearer to T2G orbitals but far away from EG orbitals. Because the ligands are approaching the metal nearer to T2G orbitals, they will experience greater repulsion with T2G. That means T2G orbitals will increase their energy, whereas EG orbitals will decrease their energy. So this crystal field splitting is the opposite way around that in octahedral complex. This is free metal ion. This is hypothetical spherical field. This is free metal ion, 5d orbitals. In case of hypothetical spherical field, all will experience same repulsion. Now, in case of tetrahedral complexes, what is happening? In case of tetrahedral complexes, T2G orbitals are experiencing greater repulsion. So, these three orbitals will increase their energy. EG orbitals are stabilizing, so they will decrease their energy. EG orbitals will decrease their energy. T2G orbitals will increase their energy. This is exactly opposite to the what we observe in octahedral complexes. Here, the energy difference between EG orbitals and T2G orbitals is called as delta T. T represents tetrahedral. And one more point, here we may not use G. G means geode. In tetrahedral complexes, we don't have symmetry. Tetrahedral complexes, orbitals lack symmetry. Because of unsymmetry, we cannot use geode and ungeode. We don't need to use. But yeah, it is a good practice to always have EG so that we can easily differentiate stabilized and unstabilized orbitals. Now, as usual, it is the barycenter or mean free energy level, and this side it is stabilized by 0.6 delta T, and this side it is stabilized by destabilized by zero point 0.4 delta T. This is a stabilized orbitals. This is destabilized orbitals. We can calculate the CFSE for octahedral complexes. CFSE for octahedral complexes is given by minus 0.6 delta T into number of electrons in EG level plus zero point 0.4 delta T into number of electrons in T2G level.